Welcome back to the Quiet Onset podcast powered by Cineman. I'm Ewan, and as always, I am joined by my Australian film colleague and action movie buff, Lachlan.
Hello once again, everybody. Ewan, I'm glad you called me the action film buff for today's episode because, I keep digging into you for being the indie guy, but today is my time to shine. No, on today's episode, we will be discussing trailers for the Banshees of Inisherin, God's Country, and Devotion. On top of that, we will also be sharing our thoughts on the latest Brad Pitt action flick, Bullet Train.
And then I got some quick thoughts on Not Okay, the first seasons of Uncoupled, Players, and Paper Girls. And Lachlan has a little review of a film that came out in 2014. Now let's cue up the intro and get into the show. We are professionals.
This is a professional podcast.
Yes.
Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. Hello there. Which actually,
Did you
this
get
is gonna
me a
be
hat
a
as
bit,
well?
Yes.
So I've got Dooncam. It's just a camera with my Dune steelbook.
All right, welcome back, Lachlan. Maybe you noticed the scenic change here. It seems like I'm shooting straight out of heaven.
I thought you were talking about my scenic change, because obviously this looks a bit different compared to what we're used to.
Yeah, no, I mean, I see a different angle. So
Yeah, you see a different angle. You don't see this angle. You see a different angle, yeah.
it gets complicated into the production here, but I'm keen to see that at some point as well once the episode comes out. It's a bit of a special occasion. I'm here in Locarno for the film festival, kind of in a really weird setup right now. It's very makeshift, and I'm making it work. And also, if I sound or look really tired, as we've done for the last couple of days, we went out until very late in the night. I got like home at 3:30 in the morning.
When he says we, I'm still at home. I'm not at the festival. I'm not there. Ewan is doing all the coverage. I'm chilling. I'm pretty awake right now. I've had a good night's rest. So not to flex or anything, but get in your 8 hours of sleep and you'll be as glorious as I feel right now.
Yeah, there's something going on, like the film convention that I'm here with the cinema I work at, and that's just ending. It's the last day today. So after that, I'll be on my own, just basically doing the coverage from the actual festival. All of the stuff I see at the trade show, I can't really talk about because, it's just for the exhibition of like bringing it to theaters. But it still was very interesting, and it's fun to have like a couple of colleagues around, and then you each night you kind of go out, you drink, and you get to talk about films a lot. So it's something that I'm looking forward to doing with you soon, Lachlan, once we get to a festival together, hopefully sooner than later. But yeah, that's just a bit of a update, I guess, on my end for my background explanation. But Lachlan, why don't we just get into the news, right?
Yeah, I'm keen.
Well, first up, we got a quick update from the Warner Bros. Discovery merger, one of the largest business mergers in recent memory when it comes to the side of, I guess, the film business. And it's a really interesting one to look at because Warner Brothers has had this really interesting new approach of having the day and date release on HBO Max with all of the cinematic films in 2021, kind of as an experiment. And now with the regime change and people, a new CEO coming in, they seem to completely backtrack on that, like never doing it again, and even going so far to shelve a movie that's already done that cost them about $80 to $85 million, Batgirl, and not releasing it in theaters, but also not releasing it on streaming, where it was initially, I think, supposed to land. So same goes for Scoop 2, that has been shelved, but I don't think that's been so far into production. But yeah, Lachlan, any thoughts on this? It's a weird new precedent that they're setting.
It's a bit ridiculous, not even to just release it on streaming and try to get back at least half the budget, even a bit of the budget, like make some money back on it, at least a tiny amount. But no, they've just entirely taken this off of the production floor, or release date floor, I should say. It's quite frankly ridiculous and a bit crazy that, all these people worked extremely hard to, not just actors and directors, but, every single one down to a gaffer. I mean, they all got paid 100%, but It would have been really bad if they had to take a cut from the success of the film, and there's no film that's being released. But I doubt that that's happening. But there's massive names in this film that was meant to be released: Michael Keaton, Brendan Fraser, J.K. Simmons. There's a crazy amount of stars that are did this film, and it's not coming to any screen, big or small. Hopefully, it will leak and we get like the Michael Keaton cut or whatever. But hey, you know what? At this point, we're not going to see Batgirl.
Yeah, it would be funny if, the Zack Snyder fans that usually are very adamant about getting a cutout. Not that they would be interested in this in the slightest, but like if Warner Brothers again had something like that kind of shitstorm on their hands with this movie. But I guess it's just kind of, they keep creating it for themselves. But the new CEO is someone who's very business oriented. I think they also just had a numbers report, and I think they had like 1.2 or 1.3 additional HBO Max subscribers in Q2 of 2022. So they're definitely still growing, but
Did you just say 1 or 1.2?
1 or 1.2
like
million.
You didn't say like, yeah, all you said was 1 or 1.2, and I was like, so one more person subscribed to HBO Max in the last quarter? Wow. Groundbreaking stuff we are reporting here.
It's leading towards maybe there's a potential someone. They're still in the trial right now, so that's where the 1.2 comes in. It's not locked in that they'll keep the service for the next couple of months. But on the topic still of Warner Brothers, we got a title and a release date for the Joker sequel. It's called Joker Folie à Deux, which is weird because I think it keeps on the trend of just desperately trying to say something and being, this artistic film, which, okay, fair enough. I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan of Joker. Maybe you noticed, but that's coming to theaters on October 4th in 2020. Well, no, he's not a superhero, actually. He's the bad guy.
Oh, right. Of course. Sorry, forgive me on that one.
But no, that's coming to theaters on October 4th in 2024. Lachlan, do you have any thoughts on the Joker sequel?
I mean, the biggest thing is obviously Lady Gaga is in the film alongside Joaquin Phoenix as playing Harley Quinn. I'll just call him the Joker because it's going to be his permanent role for the rest of his entire life, the Joker. But yeah, I hope Robert De Niro comes back. I'd like to see him in the sequel. That's all I want. If there's no Robert De Niro, I'm gonna riot.
Is it really a blatant lie of a previous Scorsese film if you don't have De Niro in it?
I believe I read that most of it is going to take place in Arkham Asylum, which does sound quite exciting, especially if it's like an origin film for Harley and how she became Harley Quinn. So maybe it's, yes, it's about the Joker, but maybe more for Harley Quinn fans. You should be maybe getting a bit more excited because it's possibly going to be focusing maybe on her story a bit more as well.
And Lady Gaga has had a great run so far with all of her acting jobs. She's always just surprised me.
Yeah, she's never been shallow.
She's never been shallow, yeah.
Thank you. I've been waiting for that one.
But yeah, let's move on to this week's new trailers. And, it's less stacked than last week, but I don't know if you could even surpass that in any shape or form. But we did get the new trailer for the new Martin McDonagh film that I don't want to pronounce.
I got you. The Banshees of Inisherin.
But this comes from director of 3 Billboards in Ebbing, Missouri, In Bruges and 7 Psychopaths. A really liked director by the both of us. And also stars Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson, 2 returning actors that McDonagh has worked with before. So yeah, Lachlan, what did you make of the first look at Banshees of Inisherin?
Yeah. I'm in. You just have to show me Martin McDonagh's name, and I'm literally it, or his brother as well. I'm happy to watch either of their films because I know each time it's going to be a ride. The first one I watched was In Bruges, and that was in my Letterboxd top 4 for a decent amount of time. And then I fell in love with 7 Psychopaths when I watched it, and one of the very few scripts that I've also had the pleasure of reading, and it's the same with 3 Billboards. I read that one as well, and he's an incredible writer, and I believe both of them have a background in theatre, so a lot of these seem like very small scale ideas and stories, but they are so theatrical, and that's so exciting, especially in Bruges, especially Seven Psychopaths. But Three Billboards is probably his biggest flip around in terms of a kind of story, because it wasn't as witty, it wasn't as funny, but it was an incredible story with some really wicked performances. So I'm hoping it's a bit of a hybrid of the three, where you have a bit of the ridiculousness of the actual story being just one friend just abruptly ends this relationship slash friendship that they've had for a while, and how they both come to terms with it. But again, Colin Farrell, Brendan Gleeson are both incredible actors, so the talent is there, and especially what's his name? Barry Keoghan. He is really setting himself up to be one of these next up and coming actors who possibly seem to nail any role that they're given, whether it be in an MCU movie, whether it be the Joker, whether it be this little role here as well. So I'm very excited to see his career. But no, it seems extremely exciting and fun.
Yeah, he's one of those actors that perfectly blends themselves into a ensemble cast in a way where he's just always adding something, of substance to the overall plot and character dynamics. So I always enjoy when I see his name on the cast list. And yeah, like you said, it's a pretty simple story. It's about two lifelong friends, and then one of them just ends the relationship abruptly and says, "We are no longer friends, stay away from me." And that's basically what it seems like the whole movie is going to be, that dynamic. Yeah, I mean, if you get Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson, you got two people with a lot of chemistry on screen. So I can't wait for October 21st when this one will be releasing, US release date.
I'm already calling it. This is going to be in possibly my top 5 of the year. I already have a feeling. He always ends up being in the top 10 somehow when he releases a film. So for me, I'm just going to put it now. Possibility that this film will be in my top 5. Write it down, someone. Engrave it into a padlock and lock it onto a bridge. Tie a body, engrave it onto their stomach, and then drop them into the ocean with a cinder block.
One finger for each star away from 5 stars. Anyways, let's move on to the next trailer, and that is for God's Country, a small little revenge thriller that premiered earlier this year at Sundance. I already caught it, and I'm interested in what you made of it, Lachlan.
I liked the trailer, and I feel like I'm being judged right now through my webcam, because I feel like I have a feeling that you didn't enjoy this film.
Okay.
Very much.
I'm just gonna say that there was a potential for a revenge thriller to be really interesting and go into interesting directions, but it kind of loses itself and is not really doing anything, and the plot just seems really forced and unnecessary. And although Thandie Newton is a great actress, she doesn't really get a lot to work with the script here. But I was quite keen when I saw just the description of this film, the synopsis, before I watched it at Sundance, and then I was a bit disappointed that it doesn't really live up to the hype. But I mean it still was like a 5 out of 10 for me. We'll do a trailer watch and I can give my rating to the film. But that's that. And that will be releasing on September 16th.
And you can wait for my review on September 16th, when I get to see the film.
What a sucker.
With
you have
everyone
to wait
else.
so long. No, can't relate here at a film festival. Anyways, that's my devotion to film, which is also the title of the next movie with Jonathan Majors. Nice. Is an unfortunate timing for the release of this film after we just got Top Gun Maverick, and it's been such a huge release, and it's even sharing some of one of the characters that was in Top Gun is also in this. But what did you make of Devotion?
I think it's the complete opposite of Top Gun. It's going to have mediocre flight scenes, but have a very interesting story to tell on the ground, which is the complete opposite of Top Gun, which I remember at first we have talked about this, we talked about a teaser, I believe it was, a few weeks ago with the episode of Top Gun. And we were like, oh, it's the poor man's World War II, whatever it is, because I don't think they said it was the. I don't think they said it was the Korean War in the first one, but it's it's like a Yeah, it's a Korean War story version of Top Gun, and we were all like, yeah, Top Gun has ruined flights in cinema for the rest of time, the same way that Interstellar destroyed space movies for recent memory, and like what 2001: A Space Odyssey did, like in the 60s.
Top Gun
But-
is the 9/11 of film flights. Don't keep that
That's
one
staying in. Yeah. But no, yeah, look, Devotion does seem like it has a story to tell, and that's quite interesting. And I hope that the story that they want to tell is, again, interesting. So they're going to play a lot into the race side of it, because obviously main character's a black guy, and it wasn't the greatest time to be a person of color in a war situation. So they're going to lean into that, and that's a story that's worth telling, I think. I believe it's inspired by true events, but for me, I just think that it's probably going to have a more exciting story to tell. I just believe that this story, there's some substance to this story that I believe is going to be the more interesting aspect to this.
Yeah, and Jonathan Majors is always wicked, so he'll definitely
He's
add
excellent,
something
absolutely excellent.
to the story, at least, even if it's a straight up action war film. But maybe, yeah, it leans more into the drama side. It's hard to tell so far because in the trailer you obviously try to lean into the more action-packed scenes. But yeah, like you said, if it's a bit more solid down on the ground, then I mean, I'm a sucker for war films. You've seen it if you've listened to our favorites episode. But yeah, that's that.
Ewan loves war. That's what he's trying to say.
No, that's the opposite of what I'm trying to say. I love when we get to look at war and through a lens of saying, this is not good. Stop it. Looking at you, China. Stop it. Well, that releases on October 14th. And yeah, Lachlan, let's get to what we've been watching. Well, I'll let you go first, Lachlan. What have you been watching?
I have not actually been home. I've been house sitting the past week, so I have been a little bit busier than usual because I been driving a bit further than what I usually do every day. So I haven't had enough time to watch everything. I have obviously watched Bullet Train, which I was able to see this week, which is our main topic. Excellent. I saw it 4 hours ago, so it's super fresh. In other news, it's gonna be. I haven't seen it yet, but I'm gonna tell everyone to go watch it later on in my pick of the week. Even though I haven't seen it yet, and I think everyone should go see it. But I'm really hoping I can watch Prey either tonight or tomorrow night because that just came out, and I am keen as a fucking bean. But the other night, had some time to kill, so I had to watch a movie. I thought, why don't we watch Paddington, which I had seen many years ago, but my partner had not. And I thought, it's a cute movie, she's gonna love it, and she did. Even though it's very sad at first, and it then gets a bit better. Yeah, if no one's seen Paddington, you should go watch it. Now, I haven't seen Paddington 2, and I've heard that Paddington 2 is like a significant jump up in quality, and just, it's a better movie, apparently, than what Paddington 1 is. But Paddington from 2014, my gosh, it's a kid's movie, I understand that, but it's a bit different to a kid's. It just had a different feel. Like, you could watch this at any age, and you could be entertained by it. Like, it's a clearly, and it's obviously a kid's movie. Without a doubt, I will 100% stand by the fact that it feels like a kid's movie. But when you're watching it, you're going, okay, I understand this is a kid's movie, but that's very dark. Or, like, there's a lot of, like, subtext to some things, and in all honesty, it is very, very well made. So hold on to your horses, because my review of Paddington 2 will be coming soon. It's been a week of watching P movies. I want to watch Prey. I want to watch Paddington, Bullet Train. If you haven't seen Paddington, my gosh, find yourself an hour and 40 minutes because it's a very short film and enjoy it. You're gonna love it. Find a kid and watch. Oh no, I'm not gonna say that joke. Yeah, go watch Paddington, everybody.
Addressing me directly here as well, because I still haven't seen both of those films, and I really should. A year and a half ago at this point, Kelly recommended it to me after she saw both of those films, and I still haven't watched them. So I'm a terrible friend, and I'm a terrible Paddington person didn't get the lesson that was probably impact into that story. But I always hear great things about it, so I kind of want to check them out at some point as well. And maybe I'll take the time to watch this at some point soon as well, to take it away from you, to take the review away from you again.
Give me my Paddington 2 review. You get to see all the movies early. Let me go back and watch my movies.
No, I'll leave you that moment and stay out of it. But I did watch a couple of things, mainly series, but I also caught the Hulu streaming film with Zoe Deutsch, Not Okay, which we just recently looked at on a trailer watch, and I just wanted to bring it up here because I was really pleasantly surprised how well this movie works. It's a satire about someone who's really obsessed with getting fame, and basically because she tries to impress a really douchey guy, she fakes going to Paris and takes a photo of herself in front of an attraction, and then a real life terrorist attack happens just moments after, and then people think she was there. It's like there's a few conveniences where it like doesn't really make any sense how far it goes, but the lies she strings are not just like told in a way where it's like, okay, when is she gonna get caught up in her own web of lies, but it also is really interesting to look at this like really despicable character and her perspectives, and the kind of like satirical thing that it adds to it is that like there's people like this, and it's kind of funny to look at that. Although I was concerned about like how they use the terrorist attack in this, that it feels exploitative, and I think they kind of walk the thin line pretty well. You know, they don't really slip up. It's I think overall quite an enjoyable little sleeper hit. I was quite pleasantly surprised by it. Not Okay. Can't say the same thing about the Netflix series Uncoupled. This 8-episode series is with Neil Patrick Harris and comes from the Sex and the City and Emily in Paris writer. I should have known what I was in for, but I just couldn't look away. It's like a train wreck, and you just, I don't know, there's this car accident and you drive by, but you can't help but look. And that's what this was. It's really pretentious about a gay guy going through a breakup and basically just having like a lot of vanity around him, and him being, well, I guess literally the main character, but it's just a bit boring, just a bit bland, just a bit dumb. And then something again that I was surprised by, to kind of give this an up and down swing, Players over on Paramount Plus was one of the first shows that I have ever seen in the full documentary, not mockumentary style, but it's like that faked Office type of look well, I guess with interviews and stuff about League of Legends and like the players in it, and it follows a team of people going, I guess, through a season competing. And I was really pleasantly surprised how I mean I've played like one single game of League of Legends, and I played a monkey character. I don't even know its name. So I have nothing to connect with when it comes to the technical side of what they're talking about, but it feels just like a really solid sports doc, but it's just esports. So they nailed that, and I think it's also a recommendation for me. And then lastly, Paper Girls, a Brad Pitt produced, bringing him up. He's gonna come up later in today's show over on Prime Video. A show from Prime Video with a bit of a bigger budget, I'd say. At least that's kind of what it needs, because it's just straight up sci-fi with a lot of interesting ideas involving time travel. I don't know if it's different realities, but it's just really interesting. Got a young cast of paper girls who are kind of thrown around in time, meeting different versions of themselves in time. And it's based on a 30-issue comic run by Brian Key Vaughan. Probably got that wrong, but he did Runaways, and he also wrote for the TV show Lost and Under the Dome. And so far, it's a pretty good first season for Paper Girls, but I know that on Prime Video, if you don't really have a hit straight away, it's usually not really happening over time. So hopefully this gets a season 2 as well. But yeah, Lachlan, I'm done with my monologue. That's all I've been watching.
Only that. I know that's a lie. I know that you've seen like 30 other films that you just don't want to talk about right now because you don't have the time to record. So, should we move on?
Feels so called out. But yes, let's get to Bullet Train. Unlucky assassin Ladybug is determined to do his job peacefully after one too many gigs gone off the rails. Fate, however, may have other plans, as Ladybug's latest mission puts him on a collision course with lethal adversaries from around the globe, all with connected yet conflicting objectives on the world's fastest train. So that's Bullet Train from David Leitch, director of Deadpool 2 and Fast and Furious Presents Hobbs and Shaw and Atomic Blonde. The movie has been received quite positively so far. It's been out for a couple of days. On Letterboxd, it's a 3.6. On IMDb, a 7.5. And on Metacritic, surprisingly, a 49. That's really low from the critics over there. Comes in at a runtime of 127 minutes and roughly has a budget of about 80 to 90 minutes. And it as a budget of roughly 80 to 90 million, and is probably the last blockbuster of the summer, at least speaking from the US side, because we still have not gotten Nope yet. The Aussies as well, Down Under, still also.
That's next week.
It's next week, yes. We are quite keen. It has a really stacked cast with, like the aforementioned Brad Pitt. We got Joey King in there as well. Aaron Taylor-Johnson, Brian Tyree Henry. There's Michael Shannon, Sandra Bullock, Bad Bunny, Logan Lerman, Zazie Beetz, Mazioka. There's a lot of people on the train. There's a lot of people on the train for Bullet Train, and Bullet Train really lands in that genre of action comedy. If you've liked Deadpool, this is probably going to be very up your alley. It's a fast-paced action comedy. But yeah, Lachlan, what did you make of Bullet Train?
So without going into too many spoilers, what I would like to do is quickly talk about those numbers that we just went through. Letterboxd 3.6, IMDb 7.5, and a Metacritic 49. This is where I see this film, and it is not a good film in the sense that I don't think there is a good structure here in terms of storytelling. I don't think there's a really well-written script. I don't think they fully thought where they were going to go when it comes to this story. I mean, obviously, Tokyo to, what was it? Where was the final destination? Kyoto. They knew where they were going, but they didn't know exactly what kind of story they were probably going to tell. Here's the thing though, here's how you can tell that. Because IMDb, not only does it have reviewers who are critics, but it also has an audience score factored into that as well, and that's mainly audiences factoring into that. So it's the day-to-day people going to go watch that film. Metacritic is just critical reviews. That it's a 50% essentially basically just means that it scrapes the surface of being a good film. But when Letterboxd has got a 3.6, it's going to lean more onto the positive side because Letterboxd is the only one where you can kind of go, all right, it's a 3.6 and you look at the film and it's a film like this, you're going to go, okay, so it's most likely going to be an entertaining film, but you could probably already assume that the the technical side of it, the actual narrative storytelling side of it that you see in a lot of other films is probably not going to be to the same standard, right? You look at 2001: A Space Odyssey, they're not giving it like 10s out of 10s because it's a great story. They're giving it 10 out of 10 because it's a visual masterpiece, right? With this film, I'm going to forget about all of that other shit that I usually talk about with other films because this film is entertaining as hell. It is fun. It is exciting. It's thrilling. The action is top notch. The bouncing off of each character and each of their kind of quirks, and I mean, they're all a bit Deadpool-esque, but at the end of the day, they all had their own little thing, their little niche thing, and yeah, they all had that, and it all flowed and worked quite well. Sure, the dialogue was kind of atrocious, but the way that all the actors were bouncing off each other, especially Lemon and Tangerine off of Brad Pitt, those core three, especially Lemon and Tangerine, they were, in my opinion, the best part of this film in terms of actors playing parts. Fortunately, Brad Pitt just didn't get to the standard that I was hoping for, but he did an excellent job as well. This film, forget everything about, cinematography and dialogue and the sound design of each punch and stuff. Like, sit down, watch this movie, and you're gonna have a fucking good time. That's a given. It is a action blockbuster, right? And I am already saying that this is also going to be in my top 10 this year because it is one of the most fun I have had in cinema this year so far. I laughed. I was like, oh, that would have hurt. I was enjoying all of the little things, all of the, setting up of, explosions, bombs and stuff like that. Like, there was these really small little things that they did, really funny things, ongoing jokes. I think for me, the Thomas the Tank Engine stuff was the funniest thing throughout the entire film. Because I was trying to figure out who is the Diesel. And that's not really a spoiler because you don't really know anything until you watch this film. So, like, let me tell you right now, if you just go into this film wanting to watch something exciting and fun, you will enjoy it. You will have a great time. It gets a bit meh towards the end. I will say that the finale is definitely the worst part of this film, but everything up until I would say the second last stop before Kyoto is quite excellent in its execution. So, in terms of non-spoilers, don't go into this film wanting to see the next greatest John Wick action film, but with the storytelling abilities of a Steven Spielberg, Tom Hanks team up. Go in it wanting a action film and turn your brain off because it's just mindless fun and that's quite exciting to watch. So
Yeah, agreed. I think you really summed similar thoughts that I also have about the film up in a neat way. So I think we can get more specific and talk spoilers as well. What would you add to your non-spoiler review when you can mention specific moments?
Well, probably the worst use of any actor in this film is Michael Shannon. It's so weird. It is very uncomfortable. And I mean, like, I like Michael Shannon. He can do some fun stuff here and there, but I just don't see the character being as necessary as they were trying to set it up to be. At least, why make him Russian? like, why make him Russian when it's set in Japan? Why? I mean, like, just keep him British because every other character in this film is British besides Brad Pitt, which, that's fine. And Sandra Bullock, obviously.
Well, and Prince, I guess she's also just big spoilers, I guess.
I mean, she's British. She pretends to be British throughout the entire thing, but I think everything from I would say the first initial scene, this little like setup of the White Death and this kid being pushed off the ledge and what essentially gets the father and the elder onto the train at the end. Like, that part's just a bit in there for like no reason whatsoever other than to set that up to kind of wrap around at the end. So that was kind of jarring because it was like 2 minutes and then it cuts straight away.
It's like Star Wars creating Rogue One to kind of make sense of something they didn't really set up in a way that makes sense.
It should have just opened up on Brad Pitt, like, hands down.
Yeah.
It should have opened up on Brad Pitt. Even, open up on, because at the end of the day, it is his story. He is the main star. Open up on Johannesburg or something, like on a previous mission, because that would have set up why he's so... I mean, you get the whole, I'm back, I've had the time off, and he goes this entire thing, but, show us like a really badass... Show us how cool he is. Like, give me some cool Brad Pitt shooting guns, being a real badass assassin, and then give me that new Brad Pitt, right? That would have been a cooler opening than having that flashback. But I mean, other than that, it's the opening and the entire part where essentially where Michael Shannon gets onto the train. From there, it goes downhill really quickly. Like, I don't find any of the last fights. I mean, they are fun, but just he's meant to be more menacing. Like, they set up the White Death. He's the biggest bad of them all, and he's honestly a bit of a bitch. Doesn't seem that scary. So
having, main characters interact with him and not just random people that he can just slice through, it becomes difficult to write a villain that you set up so hard and then you don't Game of Thrones it and you don't just kill, someone straight away.
I don't want to just shit on it now because I did enjoy the
Well, you're taking
majority
it up
of this
front, you know,
film.
what you didn't like.
Yeah, other than Michael Shannon's character, the White Death, and the weird opening, I guess the introduction of Prince as well was a little bit odd for me. Like I didn't really like her character initially. It took a little bit longer for me to just fall in love with that character. Not like fall in love, but like I like the character. Where with Brad Pitt's Ladybug immediately, Lemon and Tangerine immediately. When I saw the Wolf's story, I was like, this guy's badass. I loved him immediately. The Hornet, you don't really get much of a background on, but I kept finding how funny it was that she kept saying, bitch, bitch. Like, that was just ongoing, and I was like, that's funny. There's a little quirk to Zazie Beetz' character, so for Prince, it took me a little bit longer to get around to enjoying, and then obviously there's the whole reveal at the end that it's the daughter. But like for me, the whole middle part of this film is very exciting because it's essentially just action piece after action piece, a little bit of calmness, action piece after action piece, which the big ones they do show in the trailers. The one between Lemon and Ladybug and Tangerine and Ladybug are both shown, and then like the pause halfway through with the cart lady coming through. Like most of the action is seen in the trailers, but there's these little moments that I guess, and I'm going to come back to it again, the Thomas the Tank Engine stuff. I'm so glad none of that was in the trailer because that ongoing joke is literally my favorite part of this film. It is very funny. And the relationship between Lemon and Tangerine, if I could have a spin-off of any of these characters, it's those two.
Yeah, about not the Bolivia job. Where were they, in Budapest? No, that's Marvel.
It was the Bolivia job, the whole murdering of everybody, but not even that. Like Joburg, Bolivia, sure, have one of those, but I would happily watch any of these two, or either of those two on an origin spin-off.
But there was a lot of flashbacks. That's where I was kind of where I guess we're taking the critiques out of the way right now. But I thought the editing, especially in the beginning, like you said, like the opening should have been something different. I think it should have opened on that kid and all that stuff. But it was really a bit janky for a bit because it kind of kept going back and forth between like new character, flashback, and that it was a lot of like different stuff happening, but it felt a bit crowded for a bit. But still, because all of these characters were so fun, you brought that up earlier that maybe it should have opened on Johannesburg and like some other mission. I think that was kind of fun to like set them up in a way where they're so established in this hitman community world of killers that they just like kind of loosely remember each other from a job they did like a long time ago. I think it would have like focused too much on that dynamic if they actually like started with that, where Brian Tyree Henry Lemon's character would have been someone who's more I guess more important to the overall story between those two. But the way that they interacted, like you said, the main three do such a great job at carrying this movie with their endless charm and their bits that really work. And they shouldn't work because, like you said, the writing isn't like the greatest. It's super cheesy, but it works. They somehow make it work.
Yeah, I think it's the seriousness that they all say these lines in, like having Brad Pitt talk about how he wants, this to, let's not fight, let's talk it out, let's use our words in a very calm, different way, where, Brad Pitt's the action star. He's shoot first, ask question later, action star Brad Pitt, where this one, it's a complete role reversal for him, which is quite exciting. Now, as I said, I don't feel his character ever comes through to being as exciting. He does get quite annoying with this peaceful attitude to the whole thing, where both Prince and Tangerine are just, I mean, they have a bit more of a character arc at the end than anyone else, really. Like those two are the I guess, in my opinion, the main characters or the best characters. They have more of an arc than what Brad Pitt's Ladybug does. But the story is fun to just follow. But again, if you start to just watch it with a critical mindset, which again, if you Metacritic, it's just critics. If you watch it with a critical mindset and not just wanting to have a bit of fun, then it's definitely going to be not an exciting ride, because if you start listening to what kind of shit they're actually saying and how the dialogue goes, it would actually sound just said by normal people. It's a bit it is the theatrics of this film that definitely kind of pull you back into the movie Ness-esque of it, I should say. So the movie Ness-esque, which is it's not a word, but I just invented a new word. Thank you very much.
It also just has that like limited scope that it initially doesn't really try to set up, but by the end you get a lot of reveals like, oh, I actually bought out the entire train. And now the whole time when he said it, I was wondering, was the conductor in on it? Because he was such a funny little side character as well, kind of chasing him down as like as much of a threat as like these people out to actually kill him, you know, to get the suitcase back. You got this guy who just like pops up and he tries to escape from him as well, and he basically goes this like the same way about it to deal with them. He doesn't want to like engage and actually fight people. And I mean, he doesn't have that invulnerability that Deadpool has, but it's basically him like having a similar role to that, where Deadpool obviously then gets violent, but he's also just he's a ladybug, he's lucky. But yeah, I guess Deadpool,
I mean, I would say he's more Domino.
He is a bit more Domino, yeah. It's a bit of a mix, but I mean, just for the quippiness or like his type of humor, where it's just kind of reacting to stuff. Maybe not the best comparison, and I'm only making it because it's the same director as Deadpool 2. But yeah, I mean, I definitely felt that style, but instead of just like being put into this single character, this just spouts and spouts and spouts lines all the time, it was a bit more dispersed among different characters with different backgrounds, and somehow that really worked for me, because I'm usually in that like, critic pile that would, if a movie doesn't work and some people enjoy it, still like rated less here. But the slight spoiler ahead, I didn't agree with the critics this time. For me, this is also just a really solid summer blockbuster action comedy that kind of sets out what it wants to do.
You're coming around.
It really entertained me. Yeah, I'm turning a new leaf.
Wow, look at this guy. Wow, I thought you were going to rip this movie to shreds, but no, I'm so glad that you've able to understand this growth between us. I have started to like these old black and white silent films that you
Parasite
want me to watch.
in black and white.
And you're enjoying a blockbuster. I never thought I'd see the day. Incredible.
It has happened before countless times, but you're just rewriting history right now. Was there, to talk specifics when it comes to scenes, because like you can break this movie apart in really fun segments. Out of the flashbacks that we got, did you have like a favorite?
I would say the wolves was the most exciting to watch, because he just kept stealing stuff of people he was like murdering and killing, so that was quite fun. And to watch his evolution, because obviously it's a character that you're quickly introduced to. But
dude, it's like one of those ads for the mobile games where you click and you see the level up of other people, but he's doing it in actual real life. And then someone with pay to win money just comes in and has basically his skill set with luck set to 100, and he just dies. I think his character arc was interesting that it ended so quickly. It was a bit abrupt, but I think that's kind of what I liked about it. It was like, oh, okay, that's an interesting choice. I like it.
But no, I would say that Wolf was one of the more interesting backstories, at least one of the more in-depth ones. And he dies so quickly, so that's a bit unfortunate. But yeah, I would say that was probably my favorite flashback sequence. Yourself? What do you think?
I mean, it's also the one that is like where the character is the most just in the flashback itself. He doesn't get much beyond on the train. Would be a pretty easy one. Yeah, I like the bits in the start where it goes over the luck, or I guess not. Well, I guess the luck of not dying for Ladybug, but also death just happening around him. As a running theme, kind of going throughout that he just goes about things just not caring at all, which it could be a critique that you got this marvelness of, well, these are main character, big characters, and they do quippy line readings, and then they don't really care about the actual stakes and the danger they're in. And this is also something that they do, but I think they just have grown to just treat this as normal a job as they could when it comes to like going up against other hitmen that could kill them. I like, it's not like I'm expecting that they like fear for their life or whatever, but that just kept the pacing going in a way where you were never down on a moment, because it always cut away to something really interesting. Something that we haven't touched on yet, I think the production design of like the bullet train and the interiors was also like super pretty to look at, the way that was shot.
The especially that kids section of the train was very, I guess, cinematic, because it was blue and red, like every cinematic scene ever. But yeah, no, each section of the train had a different kind of feel to it and different look to it. So I felt that was quite exciting. And I will admit the part right at the end where the sun comes up, it's stunning. It does just have this really nice look to it. The mist at Kyoto Station, incredible. The look of this film was nailed from shot one, really. There was not a single scene that I didn't look good. It all looked great. All right, so I have a list of things that I want to ask you, Ewan, that I'm gonna throw at you. I want to get your opinion on the film. All right. So, best kill. What would you say the best kill was?
It's the Hornet versus Ladybug, where the Hornet dies.
Ooh, that was a good kill. I like that one. Yeah, definitely. And then, well, I mean, what do you mean you don't have a second antidote? Like, be prepared. Like, that was great. I really enjoyed that. That was a great little end to, especially then it was like, what do you want? Do you want a water? Do you want a blanket? Do you want a blanket? Like, what are you reaching for? That was a good one. And I'm gonna agree with you, Ewan. The Hornet was the best kill out of all of it, because it was the one that was like, you're shocked, and then there's a quick turnaround, and it's witty, it's fun, it's exciting. All right, what was the best song in the film? Because the Holding Out for the Hero is excellent right at the end.
Making It Easy, yeah, I think that was the highlight, the most like iconic song, I guess, in there. And I honestly don't really know what other needle drops are in there. Like, they didn't stick with me as much.
Most underutilized character, or actor, I should say. Most underutilized
Well, first,
actor.
I'm overused Prince, because I still disdain Joey King, and this movie would have been better if she wasn't in it. Sorry, just wanted to hate on it. Oof. It's hard to say. I think Logan Lerman just like dying. It's kind of funny that, well, no, I wouldn't say he's underused, but it's funny how he's just like, for basically the whole movie, he's just like a dead puppet just there. The way him dress him up, Weekend at Barney style. So I'd say him, because he just is in the movie so briefly. But
well, I'm gonna say it's Michael Shannon. Michael Shannon's the most unutilized actor, and the characters, honestly, like come on, man, it's Michael Shannon. Like, seriously, Deus Ex character, which character that should just be dead at this point? Like, I understand that Ladybug's thing is lucky, but come on,
Deus Ex
I feel like it should be the fucking cart like the lady. She should be dead at that point.
It's funny how they are all in on it. You know, they know this is going on, I assume. I don't know if they're just on, or maybe no, he just said he bought every ticket. So maybe the people, like, that's the theory. That's interesting to test. Like, are they in on it? Are they like just breaking it up? Are they not interfering in any sort of way in what's happening? But yeah, that's crazy how she just pops up in between to have them spout a couple of one-liners towards each other. But the Deus Ex, well, I think it is just easy enough. Brad Pitt, how he gets himself into those situations, and out of them as well.
Would the film be sequel material? Does the film have sequel or prequel material?
Just like the Titanic.
Definitely.
Titanic 2. It sunk again.
And if yes, what is the sequel to this film? And as I said earlier, the sequel to this film, or the prequel to this film, is a backstory of Lemon and Tangerine. That's the sequel prequel material right there for this film.
Agreed, yeah. I think that's an easy one to go with. I mean, also the Hornet, I think, is an interesting character, but I think she works because she's just like saying bitch and then dies and is really violent.
Maybe for the Hornet, we should give the Hornet like a YouTube original series. I don't think I'd give it a full movie. I'd give it a YouTube original series.
How about a team up between Lemon, Tangerine, and the Hornet? Call it the the yellow, instead of the green Hornet, you call it the yellow orange or Hornet. Some mix of that.
And Seth Rogen comes back.
Comes back.
All right, last question. Who's the MVP of the film?
Oh, easily Lemon.
Oh, no, sir, you are so wrong. It's Channing Tatum.
Yes.
Channing Tatum is the MVP of the film. Is this a sex thing?
He was such a hidden highlight of the film, just kind of popping up. Just
him, Ryan Reynolds, excellent. Out of all the characters that he could be covering for, or the actors playing the character he's covering for, like Ryan Reynolds was the best choice. It was very well done.
Yeah. But
also like Channing Tatum being a little horn dog is also quite funny.
But yeah, that's that. I think that gives you a good overview of our thoughts on Bullet Train. What did you make of it? Let us know in the comments below. But yeah, Lachlan, where did you arrive at as a rating for Bullet Train?
I gave Bullet Train a 3.5 out of 5.
Nice. I'm breaking the paradigm and actually going with an out of 10 rating again, because I couldn't care less, even if it's not TV and it's on IMDb, it's on Letterboxd. So for me, it's still the same rating though, just with different numbers, a 7 out of 10 for me as well. So glad to agree on this. I like when we fight, I like our disputes.
I hate how you don't use like the Letterboxd stars. That really annoys me. Because I love Letterboxd. Letterboxd is like my favorite thing.
We agreed on the movie. Now we have at least something. Like, what's this episode have? If not a little bit of tension, We got to keep that up.
Yeah.
Keeps the mystery up, keeps it alive. But what keeps me alive is watching movies in the theater. So let's get to what's releasing this week. And, out now, what I guess I didn't mention last week is that we got Lightyear on Disney Plus, and then I see you writing in Prey in Australia on Disney Plus, which is also this week. Is it not out yet as of today?
No, it should be out. Hang on. We're doing a live reaction Disney Plus load.
Internationally, Nope is releasing in Aussie and Swiss theaters, and it will be the movie we talk about next week. But yeah, what's the status on Prey?
I'm just loading up. Okay, I'm loading up the first couple seconds of Prey and I just noticed there's a second version that's not in English. I am not watching it in English, ladies and gentlemen. I am super excited that they did that. That is a extremely cool side release as an extra content. But like, if anything, I said I'd rather watch it in the native language that it's where it's set. So that's really exciting.
Great stuff. And I've heard really great things about the film, like I said last week as well. So I'm quite keen for it as well. People say it's pretty much the best film since the original Predator, which is high praise. I don't know too much. I haven't seen any of them, but I'm just going to say. That's
very high praise, but it's also very easy because Predator 2, it's a sleeper hit. No, Predator 2 is a sleeper hit. Predators is actually quite fun, and then The Predator is a piece of trash that no one ever talks about. So Predator 1 is always going to be the best one. I'd be happily surprised and say that this is my new favorite, but we'll see. I haven't watched it yet. I'm not going to say anything. I'm not saying anything more.
Yeah, and then just to mention it once more to increase the pain, Bodies is going into wide release this week. Only in the US, though. No release date on the horizon, at least for me. For you, I didn't even check because it just hurts at this point when I don't get my healthy dose of A24. Although I'm about to go to a screening of an A24 film, so I can't really complain. But I can.
That's a flex.
It is a bit of a flex. It's one that premiered at Cannes that I missed close. I'll be seeing that in about 90 minutes. But yeah, Lachlan, what is the pick that you would give?
I already said you should all go watch Prey, even though I just want people to go watch a movie in a series that I love. I don't even care if I haven't seen it yet, but I'm just going to start recommending it now. And next week, I'll take it back if I don't like it. So I'm going to pre-assume that I'm going to enjoy a film. But more importantly, everyone should go watch Paddington. You're in a bad mood, go watch Paddington. You're in a happy mood, go watch Paddington. If you are in a horny mood, go watch Paddington. If you are if you are in any kind of mood, whether it be, a mood, go watch Paddington. It's great.
But yeah, so I'm sticking with the theme of trains, and my two recommendations are the Bong Joon-ho film Snowpiercer, where you're also kind of moving up, just in a linear way through the train. But it's a bit more of a, I guess, social commentary film, but also has a lot of action in it. Chris Evans, Song Kang-ho, great film. And then we also got A Train to Busan, a zombie movie from Korea that's also action filmed. And I guess lastly, you really have to watch how many seasons there are of Thomas the Tank Engine to fully get Bullet Train. So that's another recommendation from me. But that brings us to the end of today's show. Next week, we'll take a look at Jordan Peele's Nope. And in the meantime, you can follow Lachlan and myself on all of our socials. Those are linked below. There's also a link tree taking you to everything from Quiet on Set to the video and the audio feed. Don't forget to follow and rate the show over there, and leave a like and subscribe on the YouTube channel. Quiet on Set is powered by Cineman and hosted by myself, Ewan Gruff, and Lachlan Teely. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.